Welcome to People Love Process. In this impromptu episode of Over the Shoulder Vector Building, I'm going to be helping a friend who's putting together a new business venture. And he had texted me this brand mark you see this previous week. And he asked me, what do you think of this? Well, I knew a little bit about what he's doing. Now, I'm not going to disclose the name or anything specifically about what his business is about. But in essence, he's playing off of the concept of kelp, the under the sea plant that grows. And this was a brand mark that they had created. And it's supposed to form the letter K. Now, I looked at it and I could tell what he was trying to do, what they're trying to do. But my feedback to him was, well, it kind of doesn't reflect kelp very well. I said it looks more like giant tentacles coming up and surrounding a house type thing. So I'm not so sure it's communicating the best it could communicate, visually speaking. These are all things I obviously keep in mind when I'm working on logo identity, and I try to figure that out before I build anything because it's more efficient that way. Now, I came back to it the next day, and I was looking at this again, and I saw something completely different. I didn't see tentacles. I saw a tornado headed towards the house, which I thought was a little interesting and reminded me of Wizard of Oz. But that's neither here nor there and has nothing to do either giant tentacle monster or a tornado attacking the house. Neither one kind of fits the context of what it would be used in. By the way, kelp, if you want to look at reference, here's an image underwater of kelp. This is kind of what it looks like. It's interesting. When I was growing up, I remember my parents went somewhere for a weekend, and we stayed at this friend of our family, the Johansons, and they live right on the coast of Puget Sound. I grew up in Washington State. And the father, Norville was his name, took us down to the beach. And we were walking on the beach, and there's some kelp sitting there. And it was pretty thick like this. And if you cut through it, it just looks like a donut kind of shape because it's a hollow tube of sorts, the vine itself. When it gets big, I think it was a different variety than what you see here. Maybe not, maybe it's just larger. Anyway, he takes out his pocket knife and he cuts off a slice and he hands it to me. Here, try this. I'm going, what? And, I don't know. I was maybe 12 years old, something like that. And I'm going, what do you want me to do with it? No, try it, eat it. I go, seriously? And I tried it. Now, it was kind of salty because it's obviously coming from salt water, but it wasn't that bad. And apparently it tastes even better when you dry it out or dehydrate it or something like that. So that was just a thought that popped into my head. It has nothing to do with the content I'm going to show you. I just thought I'd tell that story. So this is what kelp looks like. So knowing that that's what kelp looks like, I just really quickly, it took me maybe 5 minutes to kind of sketch out this design. I sent it to him and I said, maybe something kind of like this. And I go, don't try to hide the house within the brand mark. That's going to be an awkward kind of construction to pull off. But you could do a K, and then you could make the container shape like a hexagon. Now, I didn't draw the hexagon too well. I was more focused on, helping them think through how they could approach it. And, obviously if I built this, the hexagon would be a more perfected shape because we have shape tools, the polygon tool here to create hexagons in Illustrator. And he's going, okay, I get that. And the next day, though, And that's all I did. That's all I intended to do, is just to help a friend kind of think through what he's doing. And the next day, he sent me a thumbnail he did. And he said, I think we're kind of leaning in this direction, after I gave him that feedback about it looking like kelp. And I could see what he's doing here. These are like the stalks of kelp, and these are the leaves. And it's kind of, the water's moving it around. It's forming a letter K. And I go, well, I like that idea, but I think this could use some work. I think it needs to be tightened up. So I took his sketch, I went into Photoshop, and I just kind of made it a proportionate square. And then this is what I drew from to work out the letter K in a more, I don't know, for lack of better terms, kelpy way of pulling it off. And this is what I came up with, where it's just one singular stalk, and then the tendrils coming off that form the kelp leaves, I guess they're leaves, kind of form the letter K, but make it more geometrically precise to fit within a square format. And so this is what I'm going to build now, because much like I had somebody approach me in email who watched last week's content where I did historical icons, and they brought up the cheek guard that I built, where I built it straight and then I curved it. And they said, how practical is that methodology? How often would you use that? And I said, well, probably not too often, but there's times since I first started thinking that way a couple years back that come up, and I go, hey, I could approach it that way. And so I go, it's not something you're going to do all the time. You should learn how to build precise Bezier curves. That's just craftsmanship for vector building. And then this came up, and I was looking at this, thinking of how I'm going to build it, because as I'm drawing it, I'm thinking that, and I'm going, some of these curves, I'm going to have to, really nail these curves. And then I thought, well, I wonder if I could build it straight. And that's what I'm going to do here, because I think we can pull it off pretty well by building straight and using the rounding technology in Adobe Illustrator. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the sketch here, and we'll select this, and I'm just going to go to transparency. We'll set it for 20, and I'll lock it. We're going to build it on this layer, and you can see I have a square here, because that's ultimately when you're doing icons or brand marks, it's always good to use a proportionate square. And I think knowing what his product is, even though I'm not disclosing that, I think it'll be ideal to use a square. We might even try rounding the corners eventually and see how that goes. Now, the only thing I want to determine here is the thickness of this. So I dropped two guides that align with my drawing, and we're going to go ahead and build this. So I'm going to go to my graphic styles. I'm going to select this graphic style. We'll zoom in here. Actually, before we do that, we can just take this and snap it to the guide and just get that determined like this. Pull it away. Snapping, notice how this is saying I don't want to snap. I have snapping turned on because I'm on the path now. This what Illustrator does. They still have a snapping bug. They're supposed to be fixing it. We'll see if that ever happens. But notice how it just acts like there's no guide there. In essence, that's the snapping bug that I've been telling them for over 12 years. It's busted. Ironically, if I go back and I start again, it'll snap to the guide here. And then if I drag it down here, it'll snap to the guide here. Why? I don't know. That they're aware of it now. Whether they fix it, it's a crapshoot. Who knows? I don't know if they'll actually do it. I've noticed that selection has gotten worse when you mask something. It's hard to select the mask the vector that is the mask and adjust it if what you have masked in it is close to that within a few points. Super frustrating. That's a new bug that I don't like. So we're just going to take this and I'll slide it up. I'm going to slide it back down just to get to the base of the K there, like that. I'll go ahead and clone it, Command C, Command F, much like that. And oh, this is lovely. So if that ever happens to you, just go up to View, go View using CPU, select that, and now that shouldn't happen. You'll just get the nice little preview. It's weird. I have more memory on this machine than I do my workstation, which is about 8 years old now, and it does that. So the lovely experience of using Adobe software at times is amazing. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we're going to build this straight. I'm going to go ahead and take these two. I don't need to select the path. I'm going to unite those with Pathfinder. And then we're going to go in and grab the scissor tool because I don't need to worry about having this to be a closed shape because we don't want it to be a closed shape. So I'll select that, select this, and we'll select these paths, and we'll just, oop, not that one, my bad. Just those, like that. And so we're going to be building from it like this. Now, the first thing I want to do is, like on this, you can see this at an angle. So I'm just going to grab this and move it up until it's right about there. Then I'll grab the pen tool and I'll start building this. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to build it straight. So even though we have a curve here, I'm going to build it as if it goes to a corner like that. And then I'm going to go up here kind of like this, and I'll go here like this, and then I'm just going to go straight over like that, like that. So all I'm doing is I'm just guesstimating. This might be a little thick, so I'll pull it away because I have smart guides on. It wants to snap if I get too close. Readjust it like that. Grab the tool like this, and this one comes down. The corner will be right about there. I'll snap to this one like that. Something like that. I'll go like this. So you can see the areas that are making the expanse of, I can't remember what they call it in typography, whatever the name is, the leg or whatever for the K here. I'm paying attention where those curves happen, and then I'm controlling that the angle to using straight lines, knowing where the corner would be. So like on this one, the corner's there, so it's going to go down like that, something like that. It's going to go up. Okay, this one's not quite low enough, so I'll readjust that. So I'll grab that, pull it away, and reposition it like this. We'll grab pen tool again. We'll go over kind of like that for the angling. And then this will be straight. Now, I purposely kept that up here to guide this so it's right at the same crossing point as this one. And then I can select these two, deselect the guide, and go Command J. That welds those corners together. Oops, I forgot to delete this guy. Now on this one, this one's a little unique in that this is a large curve. So we're going to pull this all the way out, and visually I'm looking at this angle and figuring out where it would come down to here. Now, if you wanted to, you don't have to start here and eyeball it this way. We could come up here with the line tool and go like that and go, that's about the angle we want it. So I could go like this, overshoot it a bit at the bottom like that, bring that over the top, close this path with this one like this, and then eventually I'll get rid of this artifact, but just to establish that angle, you could handle it that way. And then go like this. Okay, I got that a little messed up, but we'll fix it. You can see this one goes out a little too far, so I'll pull it back, kind of like that. The one up at the top is a little different because this is angling the entire thing, so we'll go like this. I'll probably have to adjust it like that. This will be angled. We got a long curve up here at the top, kind of like that. And then we'll go again, I'm eyeballing it based off of this one. So what I'm going to do is go like this. Actually, that one looks pretty good. I might reposition this. Something like that. And then on the bottom here, I want to make sure this is the same width that we started with. So I will create a new rectangle to get that width. And just use that to guide me. So I'll go down to here and snap it so I know it's the same width. Then I can delete this. And then on this one, I'll pull it over like that. Again, going to the same angles I have in the straight parts of this. And on this one, I'm going to cross the one on top. This one can slide back down. Actually, I'll just reposition it by pulling it away. There, that looks better. And now if I close this, then I can go unite. And when I do that, I can isolate these extension artifacts and just delete them. So this is the straight build. Now it's a little hard at times with guides to see something like this. So this is why usually I keep guides on their own layer. That way I can turn it off when I don't want them to kind of get in my way. And this would be kind of like the straight build. Now I think this one could come down a bit now that I'm looking at it. Something like that. Like that. And then all it takes now is you can use the corner widget to round some of this. So if we start with this one, this is going to be these two just making a shape like that. I think this is a little short, so I might move that up just a bit, just to make sure that we can round that as well. Because if this anchor goes into that, then it's not going to be rounded there. That'll look kind of weird like that. I think would look better. Then I'll take this and I'll round that. We'll go here. And this is all using the corner widget in Adobe Illustrator. I'm not using any plugins. This is all native. And then I'm just letting my drawing guide me because I like the angles in my drawing. I just wanted to build it a little easier. And I'm not so sure about this up here. I'm thinking this might be a little tighter. What I'm going to do is undo the previous one there. And I'm going to bring this. Notice how it's trying to snap. That's because I have smart guides turned on. So at times, if you're building, just toggle it off. You can turn it on, Command U. You can turn it off, Command U. So I'm going to toggle it off. That way I can make a little micro adjustment and just move it, and it won't try to snap. Just a better alignment with that angle. We'll go back here, redo this one like that. And the only reason I put that straight again, because if I adjust this, it'll mess up the angle, and I don't want to do that. So go like that. We can go up here, select these two, like this. We'll select this. We'll pull that until it bends into this one. We'll do this. Bends into that. This one. This one and this one. That looks nice. This one we can select these two and round it. Select these two and round it. This one. Like that. Select these two and round it. So you can see it goes pretty quick once you build it straight. And the easiest of all vector objects you're going to build are just straight corners and straight strokes. Let's go ahead and get all these areas finessed. Take this, round that. And we'll do this last one. Like that. Now, does it make all the curves perfect? Well, I'd say no. This is where you still have to have an understanding of craftsmanship and vector building. So if I go up here, I don't think this looks very elegant right here. So what am I going to do? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to smart remove these two, and I'm not going to use Illustrator Smart Remove. It's just sloppy. It doesn't, I never remember it because I never use it. You can try doing this with Smart Remove in Illustrator and see if it does it accurately. I find at times it messes the geometry of the stroke up. So I'm just going to use Smart Remove. That's part of Vector Scribe. That's what this button does. So with these two, this one and this one selected, I'll just Smart Remove it. And it removes it without destroying the artwork, which is nice. But I think on this one, this needs to be straight. So it swings around, goes into this, then goes right into this curve. And I don't necessarily feel that it needs these two curves either. So this is where I would Smart Remove this one as well. And then if we zoom out, we can analyze. I think that looks pretty good, but I might try finessing this just a little bit like that. Yeah, I think that looks fine. And then I'd go up on this one and I'd pay attention to this one too, because yeah, I think this one could be better. So you still have to do some finessing. So if I take this, we'll just Smart Remove that one like this. And then on this one, I think I'm going to take out these and this one and Smart Remove that. And I think that looks a lot. Well, let's redo that. I'm going to take out these two like that. And then I'm going to take out this one and see what it looks like. Well, let me try this one. I'm experimenting now, but I use Smart Remove this way all the time. Yeah, that looks bad. that was pretty obviously bad. So we'll try this one. And I think that one looks pretty good. Yeah, that one's straight. I think all we're going to do on this one is I'll zoom out. And I think I will just adjust it just so it's lower than this height up here. I think it looks more natural like this. And we might pull this one up just a bit. That way it'll finesse into that corner better. Other than that, I think the other one, I think this one looks good. I think everything else looks good. And that's how I would build a shape like this using the straight method. It doesn't have to be complicated. Now, if you wanted to try finessing stuff even more, like the more I look at, this one looks a little hinky. So I would just copy it. I'd move it to another layer just as a temporary layer. I usually name this temp, but I'm not going to do that. And then I'll go in and try something just in case. It'll prevent you from having to go Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z to get all the way back to where you were. I thought this one looked a little wonky, being so straight like this. So I think we can improve that. So on this one, we don't have any Beziers on this segment right here. A segment is any part in between one anchor point and their anchor point. And between this anchor point and this anchor point, there's no Bezier, so it's an absolute straight line. I think it looks a little awkward there. So if you want to address that, you just go to the anchor point tool like this, and you could grab this path and you could just ever so slightly bend it. That way you'll get a Bezier curve handle coming out here and one on the opposing side. And then you can adjust it however you see fit. Now, with this one, the way I would probably do this one is I would figure out approximate place to place an anchor point here. Like I'm just eyeballing it. Then I'd take this one and I'd smart remove it. This one's extending a little too far. So this is where craftsmanship comes in. So I'll adjust this one back like that. And then I will control that arc going into that top left-hand corner up here like this. And I'd finesse it. Something like that so it'd look more natural, I guess. Sometimes it's hard to tell zoomed in. So let's compare. This is what it is now and what we had. Yeah, I think that's way better. So little things like that I'd adjust. And this is kind of the mark I would get. So in terms of this, I would select this, make sure it's on top, select the square. And we're going to go minus front. So I've just created a square K letter donut of sorts like that. We'll go ahead and color it. Get rid of the outline. We're done with the sketch now like this. This might be something I do where I'd figure out maybe I want a little round on it. I think that looks good. So I'd just add it to the other ones. Oops. Like this. This is me using the corner widget. I could have done that a lot faster. That was me using the plugin, but if you just direct select all these, you can use the corner widget a lot faster to do it kind of like that. Like that. So maybe this could be the brand mark for what they're doing. I think it more reflects Kelp. So if I copy this, let's turn on this dark background, which has Kelp here. I'll paste this in place. Let's align it here. Get it there. We're using a global color, so we'll make it. Usually when I put a reversed image on a dark background, I make it like a 3 or 4% of that color, brand color, rather than a stark white. I just think it looks better like that. So this could be something they could use for a brand mark. I think that's how I would handle it if I was trying to build straight and then go in with the rounding tools to round it to create a design. Is it a perfect method? Well, no, but at times it's a lot faster. Even if you have to go in and adjust curves like we did at the top here and here, that's pretty simple type of editing and craftsmanship to get those to aesthetically look better. But does the method I use where I build straight and then go in with the rounding tools and kind of detail it out to get the curve, does that mean you can rule out Bezier curves? Well, no, of course not. Bezier curves are what give vector art elegance, and you need to just keep practicing building curves manually in order to get that elegance in a design or a look. This is more geometric, so I think it's a little more forgiving using rounds, because with rounds work great with geometric shapes, simple geometric shapes like squares and rectangles and triangles and polygons. Those are all things that can benefit from rounding, because rounding makes them look less computer generated and more handcrafted and polished. So there's a legion of overhypers on social media, and you've seen their videos where they come out and it's like within 15 seconds they have something all done. And I've watched those again. Okay, what exactly did they do? And I go, and I could tell they've skipped steps or whatever. And I'm going, no, that's so kind of deceptive. And I don't play those analytic social games that the platforms really want you to. YouTube's always telling me, you should do some shorts. And every time I upload a video, it's saying, do you want to turn it into a short? I go, no, a short is a reel, that is a vertical video. Everything I do is long form video. And with the exception of this, which would be centered right in the middle if I did a vertical video, I'm not always doing that. So I don't want to get into that game. I just want to help people improve their vector skills, and I think long form video is the best format for that. So my ultimate goal with People of Process is to equip you to become the best vector-based creator you can be, whether you're wanting to do design, whether you're wanting to do illustration. And I want to help you improve your skill sets when it comes to that context. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for posting questions. If any of you have a question, you can always go to the email link in the description below any movie on this channel and send me an email, send me a file, say, hey, can you look at this? And a lot of people do that. And I don't mind, when I have the time to do it, to check those and give you feedback. I do the same thing with friends of mine who I admire their work, and I'm not sure about something, then I'll ask them, hey, what do you think? And they help me. So I don't mind kind of giving back in that sense as well. And if you subscribe to this channel, thank you very much. And if you're a member of this channel, thank you even more, because you actively help promote me in such a way that you support what I'm doing, and that helps me create new content. I have a fun one coming out next week. And if you can't be a member, that's fine. Just subscribe so you're notified when new content comes up. And just simply give me a like or share a video with a friend of yours that you think would like it. That would help me so much. And I know from what YouTube is always telling us content creators, a simple like does help. So I don't fully understand it, but I'll take their suggestion in terms of requesting a like. So until next time, thank you again for watching this channel. This wasn't a long one. This is a little different, but this is a good friend of mine, and I wanted to help him. And I thought this would be another good example of how you can approach vector building and creating this way. So until next time, thank you for watching, and I hope this content helps you improve your own creative process.